over and
Yep.
got it.
Got it.
I'm not meaning to take over and talk or write minutes or anything. We should probably put on the agenda for the next time to see how we'd like to divvy up things and who'd like to do what. So happy today, since we've never talked about it, to continue with keeping the minutes for today. And then we can add it to next month's or our next meeting's agenda and sort it all out. Then we can have a great conversation about it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Right.
But I'd be fine doing the minutes for next month.
Oh,
You-
wonderful.
You kind of have a format, so I could do it for next month.
All right. I told you that wasn't her last. Okay, so in terms of reviewing the minutes from our January 14th meeting, I did my best to go from my notes of what we discussed. Is there anything that anybody would like to amend or change, add to?
They look very complete to me and well done.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. How about you, Fred?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So far, so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need another moment?
When I've been in the past, I've had the situation where I was doing minutes. I had to literally record the whole thing manually because there was no way that I can make notes fast enough. So I then go back and then listen and write my notes, listen, to get anyway. So
Yeah. That's a lot to ask.
There's a lot.
Well, maybe we can rotate the responsibility.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I just didn't want you gentlemen to think that I had tried to take over. Just
I'm happy to do them as
still in
well.
team meeting facilitator mode, and
That's fine.
think
That's fine.
type.
Good. I think it's good that you're taking that role because, you've been around more than I have anyway, and you're doing a great job, and, we could pick it up from there. So
All right. So we'll add
No
it
problem.
to next month's agenda. So
Sure.
and then we can also add to next month's agenda how formal or informal we want to be. This is clearly an informal meeting. And we're not using Robert at all. And I'm fine with that, but I don't want to assume. And so we can add that to next month's agenda as well. And if we grow and get bigger, we might at a future time note that we do need a way to referee some stuff. So we can talk about that.
Well,
So Fred-
I'd be happy to move that we approve
Okay.
the minutes as written. And if we had a second, we could vote on it.
Mhm.
second that.
okay.
Are those in favor?
Oh.
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Yeah, that's
All right.
Looks unanimous.
Perfect.
Good.
Approved. Okay. So Fred, the way I set up today's agenda, I simply went down the things that we had discussed. And in the minutes, I've just placed them in the order of discussion.
Yes.
And so the first item under our business is, hang on one second, is updates under old business. And did you want to update us regarding establishing a meeting with the new Wellfleet building inspector and the owner of Hatches?
We do have a new building inspector, and his name is James Badera, right? Which I just pick off the town's website.
Okay.
Now I called him on this past Monday, but Darlene, who's the administrator there, told me that he was not in the office because of bereavement, and probably wouldn't be in the office. And she also told me something I was not aware of, is he doesn't work on Fridays. So we want to keep that in mind.
Okay, that is important.
So I haven't had too much of a chance to continue on that one because, well, but I wanted to make the new building inspector aware of the situation and the dialogue we've had in the past with well, not the guy who was there for 2 days, but Paul Fowler, because he and I spoke quite a bit on that. So now I do have, some contact information with relationship to the owner of Patches, phone numbers and stuff like that, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself. I wanted to speak with the new building inspector and make sure he is okay with pursuing this thing. I mean, I think it was, Paul Fowler did write up a complaint form, which I don't know where I put.
Okay.
You should see my desk. I'm not at my desk.
I was looking, even though you and I were not an official committee that could do official business or even share our minutes, because it wasn't something like
Right.
that. I look back at notes, and a year ago, you shared that Paul Fowler had indicated that I'm the owner of Hatches and he would be amenable to coming to meet with us and the then, at that time, ADA coordinator. So it's a whole year that has gone by with no change.
Yeah.
I was looking online for situations like this and how we might, as a little committee, address this. And Fred, correct me if I'm wrong or I misunderstood in my research, because you have so much more knowledge on this, but Architectural Access Board
Yes.
talks about 521 CMR in terms of buildings in this exact situation and the number to call or the complaint form to fill out. I want to keep it in town, but time keeps going by.
Well, my contact at Maud had said the same thing to try to keep it at our level, if you will. So and that's preferable.
Right.
So I guess what I'm going to say is, as soon as I can actually get a little bit more going on, I'll actually contact you, send email to everybody out to kind of outline what we've where the new guy is at, because as far as I know, I'm going to assume for the moment that the situation at Hatches is still the same as it has been as of November when we closed our place up. So I will ask the building inspector to take a look for himself and try to see how he wants to proceed, because basically there's not much we can do without his cooperation, if you will, or at least agreement to pursue it.
So Fred, this is George. Is it just were you, and I haven't I forget what you had said about that property there. Was it because they did not have a ramp going to the front door, or was that the issue?
No.
With Hatches?
No, the issue was that the guys from Hatches had gotten but I forget what the word is. Permission, I guess. This is something more formal that's not coming to me, but a building permit. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
They had gotten a building permit that made modifications, was approved to make modifications to the door, but the ramp that also was not included in that. And so, like Kate was alluding to, was that the Architectural Access Board sets out descriptions of what's a proper ramp and so on, right? And it's clearly not it's in violation. What's there is in violation of
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Do we have a sense
I'd be
of
more
what?
than happy to help.
Oh,
I'd be
Oh.
more than happy to help you reach out to Jim, or his building secretary, Derry, and see if I can help you. Just let me know what you need. I'm in town hall every day, so I don't mind.
That would be great right now. And I did see it just the other day. I stopped into the marketplace before they closed to redo their floors, and there's no change in it, you know.
Okay, good. You're
So
my eyes, because I won't be there until sometime in April.
yeah, so anybody, it's an incredible resource for the town, incredible store. Everybody loves it. I adore it. But if you are in a wheelchair or if you have other mobility issues, you can't access it at all. And it's in a town parking lot.
Yeah, it'd be kind of exciting. I mean, in the sense there's the slope, I'm not sure about the exact slope, but there's no landing is one of the things that it lacks, right? Yeah, you have to come for it, literally come in for a landing. And but then also there probably would be required for railings and that kind of thing.
Right, there's nothing like that.
There's a whole bunch of things.
Yep.
Is there a design for what needs to be done? Do we know? The corrective?
I cannot say definitively. Nothing like that has been shared with us. Paul Fowler wasn't, when he was the building inspector, was not able to share that.
Okay.
And I think at that time, the owner of Hatches had indicated that he would be amenable to meeting with us. And then COVID, and it just didn't happen. We were kind of just the two of us. It wasn't really something that, and then when the then ADA coordinator took a different position in a different town, there really was no teeth or ability for this committee to do anything.
Right. Yep. Right.
So, all right, but we successfully made a motion at our last meeting to invite both the building inspector and the owner of Hatches to a future meeting of ours. So Rebecca, that would be a great help to us if you reached out to Jim and you know, got a sense of when. We've picked Fridays for our meetings, but for something like this, I don't want to speak for the whole group, but I think we'd be amenable to picking a different day that met with his schedule to start resolving this.
Sure.
I can reach out to him and see if he can give me a couple days, and then reach back out to you guys and see what works for you. Do you also want to include someone from the marketplace to see if they'd be willing to work with you as well?
From Hatches? Yes, absolutely.
I think it's only fair because like you said, it is really the main marketplace for Wellfleet, and it's really a tight squeeze. So, I mean, if anything, at least maybe they can meet and just throw out ideas with you guys.
Right. Just to clarify, though, we're not talking about Wellfleet Marketplace. We're talking about Hatches Fish Market located.
Right. I know you had talked about Wellfleet Marketplace too.
Oh,
so I was
just because I stopped
sure.
there. Sorry, I didn't mean to create confusion. I stopped in the other day to shop there and I saw that there was no change in Hatches.
Right.
So apologies for creating confusion. Okay.
So I did just informationally, I did do but I guess I call it a white pages thing on the internet, and track down phone numbers for the guy from Hatches who is Adrian. I'm gonna kill the last name. Adrian Kimick, K-M-I-E-C.
Okay. And he's listed as the owner?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, along with his wife, who is Katie, or something like that.
Okay. I got it. Wrote it. Perfect.
Because we do their business license.
So yeah, there should be a name on the business license, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we move on, do we feel like we've completed what we can with an update on this topic?
Yeah,
I think so.
I would just say let's move forward with the meeting with the owner and the building inspector as soon as we can, because otherwise we're going to be at the next meeting and Fred still won't have any status, and we'll be talking about it again. So I think it'd be good to have a meeting and.
I'll reach out to him as soon as I get in the office Monday morning.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank
Big
you.
help. Thank you. 4 on the agenda is now moot in terms of update regarding the status of Wellfleet's ADA coordinator, because we now have Rebecca Eldridge
Right.
joining in that capacity. So that's
Great.
wonderful.
Right.
Um,
When was Rebecca appointed?
Rebecca, when were you appointed? Was the question?
I think if I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I have to check with Jennifer
Okay.
Conjal. We go through it all the time, but I'm updating the website now. And I've spoke with Courtney Butler, who was your previous one. She kind of gave me an update on the rundown on how it works and what I need to do. And so we're good to go.
Wonderful.
Great, welcome.
Glad to have you.
Thanks.
Very, very glad
Yes.
to have you. And then 5 was update regarding possible linkages to the other town agencies such as Council on Aging, Outer Cape Navigator, Wellfleet Elementary School CPAC. I reached out on the CPAC. I can share that.
Mhm.
I wrote a very nice letter explaining who we are. I think I dumped the letter in our folder. And I heard back both from Mary Buchanan, who is the Nauset District Director of Special Education, and from the principal of the Wellfleet Elementary School, both praising our committee for getting up and running and expressing their joy that we will be doing this work on behalf of the kids in town, and that the principal is going to share our letter and our invitation. No commitment, they can just drop in and see how a meeting runs and share their concerns, or they can join. And so that's been shared, and hopefully we'll have some folks express some interest or stop into one of our meetings.
Yes, I corresponded with Robin Slack, who's the chair of the COA Advisory Board, explaining our mission and that we are now conducting official meetings, and explained that we would be happy to invite a representative of the COA to attend one of our future meetings to discuss opportunities to collaborate. And I did not receive a reply, so I'm not sure. But anyway, the effort was made. Maybe we need a follow-up, but that's an important agency.
Yes.
But at least we've introduced ourselves and offered to collaborate.
Sounds
Yeah,
good to start.
I think the possible linkages, I think, and again, this is my second meeting. I just joined the board. I'm interested in sort of like, what are they seeing? What are their needs? They could be a source of important information about what we talk and what we do. Housing, transport, safety, health, all those things with respect to the population with disabilities. I think
Right.
just egress around town. I mean, I think Chamber of Commerce or whatever, I'm not sure if we have one, but it would be good to, it's like almost like a needs assessment, like get their feedback to like, what are they seeing? Because some of that has to be coming up in their meetings, right? So I don't know, I don't know if there's like information that's ever been garnered in that area, but that would be an interest of mine, is like getting input about what we should be thinking about, and then vice versa. Once we get going and we've developed some things. So that's just a thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree. Certainly the incidence of disabilities rises with age. So they would be a good source for a needs assessment, no question. That's sort of what I said in general terms, but I think maybe a more specific follow-up would be good.
Yeah. Maybe a survey
I
or
actually
something.
run the COA meetings, so if you want, when I'm there, I could ask.
Sure.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
That's great.
Sure.
And likewise, if they would like one of us to come sit in and hear what they're talking about and get firsthand perspective, happy to do that too.
I'll reach out to them. I talked to Robin and post their meetings and run their meetings, like I said. So I'll chit chat with her and see what she wants.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you in the future thinking about maybe a survey or something we can hand out and get information back from. Could be something.
I'll rely on Jim when we get to that, but just looking at some of what we would have to do for the needs assessment and our self-study, I think those are some of the elements that we would have to do anyway.
Yep.
But I don't want to
Cool.
jump the gun.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else under this topic before we move on? Okay. We're on 6 already. Update regarding a municipal ADA improvement assessment and preparation work to be done in order to meet the August 22 grant application deadline. I did, and we had made a motion to get on the select board's agenda for the April meeting to update them what we're doing and what we might need. And I did email that to Rebecca. And she suggested as we also get closer to that date, any supportive documents or examples that we need to provide, we can give them to her and she will distribute them and make sure the select board has those pieces. And if I misspoke, correct me. But Jim, do you want to take over this section?
Asking for there?
I missed it.
Yeah, I think, and Rebecca may be better informed than I on the status of this, but there are 2 sort of prerequisites that we would need. Actually, there are 3, and one of them was already been met with the appointment of Rebecca in this position. So that's a major one. The other 2 prerequisites are that we have, the town has a notice of non-discrimination and proof of posting of that notice, and that the town has an ADA grievance procedure, written grievance procedure. I know we have a complaint form. I've seen that on the website, but I have not seen a grievance procedure. So there are, I mean, these aren't insurmountable obstacles. There are templates and examples of these on the Mass Commission on Disabilities website that can be easily accessed, and they can be customized for the community and adapted. So I don't believe we have either of those. I don't know if Rebecca knows that we do, and they're not on the website, but maybe we have them. The notice of non-discrimination, which is posted, and the a grievance procedure that would be on the website and followed. If we don't have them,
I will look into that for you.
Yeah, I can email you some specifics on that, and also
that would be great. And then I can make sure that it gets uploaded on the website because I manage the website as well. So anything that you want posted and where you want it posted, if you let me know, I can do that almost immediately.
Right. Yeah, and I would assume that the select board would need to vote on these and approve them.
Yep, I can put it in their packet. So what we can do is you and I can communicate as to what you think the best documents are. And then I can put that in the select board and put a motion in there for them to approve it. And then I can't see them not approving it, but you never know. So you figure out what you guys like for best wording and whatnot, and then I'll make sure it gets in the packet for meeting.
Okay.
Rebecca, what's the deadline for getting things to you for?
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Usually it's the Thursday at noon before the meeting.
Okay.
That way I have time to put the packets together. I don't know if you're familiar with the select board packets, but they tend to be quite large.
Yes.
So I need to have time to put them together, but I'm usually good. They're usually put together by Friday. So if you get me anything by Thursday at noon, it'll end up in the packet.
Good.
Just
to go a bit, I'm sorry, am I interrupting?
I just wanted the dates, like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to make sure I'm positive. So that.
Yep. Hang on. Let me just look at my calendar to make sure I don't misspeak.
That's what I'm
You
afraid of.
think I know the dates by heart. Let's see, the
Yeah.
first April meeting for the select board is April 12th. And then the second one is April 26th. So you have your choice of which you want to be on, and I can add you to it just so you have a placeholder.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
So if you decide you want to be on the 12th, you have to have all your information to me by the 7th. And if you decide you want to be on the 26th, you need to have all the information to me by the 21st.
Okay,
I'm glad I asked.
good. Yes, I am too.
I'm sorry, Jim, I interrupted
So
you earlier.
Yeah, this, just to complete the sequence, once those things are in place, then we are entitled, or the town is entitled then to apply for grant assistance for a self-evaluation and transition plan. And that would be the August 2022 cycle. The funds will be awarded for FY 23, and either the town, the town could choose to do it independently. Most towns don't. They have a vendor, and there's a number of good ones who can conduct this kind of survey. And the grant would cover all of those expenses. Typically, they're in the realm of $30,000 to $40,000 to do this well. And it does indicate, it would indicate the town's current needs within the scope of ADA compliance, and then recommendations would be made as to how to satisfy those needs over a period of time. So it'd be like a time action plan that comes from that.
Yeah,
So those,
Jim,
those three things that we just mentioned would qualify us to apply.
Apply. I downloaded the practice application to take a look at it,
Right.
which is nice because it makes it quite clear that if you let it sit for 20 minutes or so, it's gone and has no capacity to save your work. So
Okay, so,
they literally recommend that you do it on a Word doc, cut and paste it,
Right.
and submit it before it's gone.
right.
But Jim, it looked like there's two pieces. There's grant monies to do these self-studies
Right.
and transition, and then there's grants to apply for to actually implement the work that we thought we had to do.
That's right. You come, you do the needs assessment and the transition plan, and then there's money to fund projects. So that's the second aspect. You're right. So there's another aspect to this where the town can be reimbursed or aided for actually dealing with the things that are in the transition plan.
Nice.
So, I mean, this committee can be helpful with that. It would be the town making the application and doing the contracts with vendors, but it could be a source of advice, or we could also help with some of the writing of these things on the approval of the Board of Selectmen and contribute that way.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
We're not administrative, we're advisory.
Yeah.
Right. And I know, George, Jim, if you saw the note I received from
Yes,
Jay Briggs from Chatham,
yeah,
and to your point, this is good information about like the challenges they had. So
yes,
I think that was very helpful for him to write those.
I agree. Very generous
know,
of him to do it at length.
Oh my God, it was very thorough
Yeah.
email, and he said 40,000
Yeah,
that he received, to your point. And um, so I think this is good information for whomever is putting this together.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, and it just goes back to what Fred was saying is, how many of those things do we have in the town? How many situations that are like that? Yeah,
I
probably
know.
many.
Yes,
And it'd be good to have a list that then we could decide, then the select board can decide how to, what the priorities are for investment, to
right.
change things, because a lot of it's going to be infrastructure things, I believe. But anyway, I was really happy to get Jay. And by the way, Rebecca, Jay is also the ADA coordinator for Chatham. So he could be a good benchmarking partner for you.
Right.
Um,
He's
Okay.
the building inspector there, I believe.
He's a
Yeah.
building inspector and the ADA
Yeah,
coordinator. So
that's a
he
lot.
probably, and he's been at it. It looks like he's really knowledgeable. So he'd probably
Yes,
be a good one to touch base with.
and he offered to help, which is nice. So thank you for reaching
Yeah,
out
I'll
to
reach
him.
out to him.
Can you remind me, since I'm taking him as Jay's last name?
Rebecca, your email's in this chain that was sent out, right? I could just send you a copy of this.
Great.
It's got
Yeah,
all
that would
the,
be great. I would really appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I can do that, no problem.
Yes, it's Jay Briggs.
Thank you.
Jay Briggs, yeah.
All right, beautiful. Anything else on this topic that we need to discuss? Okay. Under new business, discussion of benchmarking information. And I forget sitting here in this moment who requested that be added. So,
That was me, George.
okay.
So last month, I took an action to see what other towns are doing, number of meetings they have, when they meet, topics they discuss. And I sent this around to the team. Uh, and I looked at P-Town, Truro, Sandwich, Falmouth. It looks like if you look at the average, it's around 7 or 8 meetings a year, taking the summers off. So,
Mm,
if that might be something we can think about in terms of how often we meet,
sure.
7 or 8 times. Um, there was also a lot of COVID happening, in
Mm,
2020, so
Mhm.
there weren't many. So, but it looks like um, most of the towns have meetings at least 7 or 8 times a year. So we might want to think about that. So we're on a trajectory now. January, here's early March. Maybe, we could get a couple more in before the summer, take a July and August break, and then back in September. Anyway, so that's one thing. Then the various topics that they had, I thought was kind of interesting that there's always an approval of the minutes. Um, one sandwich as a pledge of allegiance.
I
Um,
like that.
there are projects, new business areas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's P-Town has waivers. Any kind of
Mhm.
ADA waivers are on their agenda. That might be something to think about.
I don't know what that is. What do you mean a waiver?
Uh, it was a waiver having to do with their parking lot. Um, and it was a waiver in terms of where they located either a ramp or a loading zone because of the real estate over there. And so they got a waiver. The,
Oh,
the, they
okay.
got a waiver to not fully comply with where an ADA ramp or loading spot should have been. So they got a
Okay.
waiver. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not sure how many
Mm-hmm.
we would have, but it's a line item in their normal agenda
Mhm.
item. That's about it. Just very, uh, I think, very general stuff. I think, we have with the one that KJ put together, I think we're in pretty good shape. There was special items that were on these um, in these meetings I thought were interesting. First one that I'd like to talk about is the Moby mats. You probably know about all those anyway, but Moby mats were both in P-Town and in Truro talking about use of Moby mats. So I think that's something I want to chat about here in a second, what I found. Um, there was the no single use bottles. That was another thing in P-Town. We saw that in Sandwich. Um, I think, Jim, you responded to someone comments on or a question about single use bottles. That's
Yes, that's right.
something important. There was the talk in Eat a Sandwich about the ADA evaluation and transition plan. They're starting that process there. Um, and the it was interesting. Falmouth, they one of the topics they had, just so interesting enough, based on what we talked with Fred about, they had architectural access board discussion in one of their special items. So it might be good to have some line item that says special items, new business, or something like that, like you're
Okay.
doing here. But I thought they were short, to the point. They were regular. They're all posted on their website. Um, the agenda and the was posted on the website, so you could go and see as many as you wanted there. So thought that was good, and I think we're probably going to follow that process. But I guess no, I guess the news is 7 or 8 a year.
Mm.
Um, seems like Moby Mats is a top topic. The 8-day evaluation transition plan uh, is a big topic. The no single-use bottles were on a number of different um, committees' agendas from last year. So that's continues to be an interesting topic, I think, for discussion.
My kids are all grown up. I tend not to go down to like the Bayside or the town beach by Mayo Beach. Do we have any Moby mats down there, especially across from the Parks and Rec area? I mean, I don't, oh, something to look into. But you're right.
I think Eastham at some place somewhere has Moby mats. I
They
don't
do a
know.
Coast Guard beach.
Okay, there you go.
Truro has it head of the meadow, and I don't know where else. I haven't been to the Bayside on Truro either, but so yeah, we can definitely look into that. That's
They're really cool. And it
Mhm.
looks like and Fred, I'm not sure if you've used those or not, but they look pretty, solid if it's a flat, like, you don't not going down a hill or anything like that. It's a straight shot. At least that's what the ad said. And they're not that expensive either.
Mm-mm.
Uh, and you know, uh, has Wellfleet ever done something where companies sponsor things like that? They actually fund those things rather than the town. Do you know if that's something that could be looked into?
For me, unless Fred corrects me, I think it's something we look into. Can't I can't say I've been to every town meeting since I moved to Wellfleet 18 years ago, but um, I don't. And Rebecca, if you know, I don't remember it specifically being a topic of discussion. It very well could have, and I just missed it or wasn't there to hear it. So I don't want to imply in any way, shape, or form that work hasn't been done around this area, because I honestly don't know. Fred, do you
I
happen
don't
to know?
think so.
Okay. Fred, have you ever used a Moby mat to get down to the beach, down to the water?
No. I also try to keep my wheelchair away from salt water and sand.
Oh, okay.
Well, under that heading, I know the National Seashore has sand wheelchairs to transfer into, so you can continue down and not be denied access. So if we're looking into one, we might want to look into the other, because they kind of, in some cases, go hand in hand, because you're correct. Getting an electric wheelchair into the sand or near the water would ruin a very expensive and necessary tool. So let's keep that on the piece to look at.
Well, yeah, discussion. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Well, all right. I don't know exactly how to look into it. I'll reach out to Parks and Rec and just see if it's been explored. Rebecca, you can just see if there's any conversation.
Yeah, I can check with Suzanne.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Orleans actually has those wheelchairs and they're amazing. So
They are.
I'm actually surprised Wellfleet doesn't. But yeah, let me reach out to Suzanne and see if maybe she's looked into it, or
That'd be great.
if there's any way we can work on getting it.
Yep. Thank you.
On the matter of funding, there may be opportunities for private funding of some of these things, but also I found that towns may choose to use the funds that they realize from handicap parking violations to underwrite services, ADA services for people, materials, programs, other services. They may choose to do that, and some do.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Fred and
I talked about that a couple of times, but without having a quorum and being a active and viable committee, we were not able to access that piece of guidance.
Right.
And I can't remember right now the CMR attached to it, but there is a section about parking fines for violating handicap parking, and that money goes basically to this type of committee to help the town with these types of projects.
Yeah, it seems like a very just, connected use.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
The thing that would have to happen is presumably the police would be, they'd have to basically be able to break out the handicap violations versus some other violation that they'd be imposing a ticket or on. So you'd have to break it out and have the police agree,
right,
to do that, and then have an account, I guess, in the town's finances that would say this is what the money is, that came in. Excuse me, that came in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do we have a sense about how much we're talking about?
In a little town like Wellfleet, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every business, everything from the Audubon. Actually, no, I'm going to correct myself. Would it be just town, or would it and private? I don't know. I'm going to not even finish that sentence because I don't know. We have to look into that.
Right.
Well, you at least tried it.
Well, I'm just thinking all the places you go, everything from the Audubon to the fish market to the beach to the library, every store has handicap spaces, but I don't know the distinction between public town or nonprofit organization or a business. So we need to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
Research.
Right.
Okay. Anything else on anything we've discussed so far today that after mulling it over or listening as we've talked, letting it percolate, that you want to revisit or touch base with before we set a new meeting date? We've given ourselves some homework between now and the next meeting.
I just think that being a new member and just my experience with ADA issues in transportation and so forth, I mean, I just think we really should be pushing really strongly to get that application out to look at the assessment for the town, because that'll give us like our work plan, I'm that way. And just on that, I can help with the drafting. I think Jim's done some writing too, but I'm a consultant. I write proposals all the time. And so I kind of know I know that whole deal. So I can help if needed. I know we're advisorial, but we can maybe frame it or something like that. But anyway, I think it's really important. That's probably the most important topic that we have. I mean, because it'll hit more of the things that Fred's talking about. It'll talk about what the needs are, and then we start knocking, then we start, making sure those needs are fulfilled, by the town and others. So I think that was a great topic to keep on the.
And it also, it's in the town interest to do it because as I understand it, it's almost a form of indemnification for the town. If the town has taken the time to do an assessment and to work out priorities for correctives, that's in the favor of the town and not in the favor of municipalities that don't do this.
Mhm.
So it's a form of, it shows a certain conscientiousness and responsibility that is in favor of municipalities that do this.
Correct. I agree. I thought I wrote myself a note. It looked like when I was in looking at some of the prerequisites of applying for the grant, grievance procedure, not posting of non-discrimination, grievance procedures,
Right.
self-evaluation or transition plan, duly established Commission on Disabilities. Member of the community compact is required. We either have to have one of our members or some member. I'm unclear. It looked like it was a member of this commission has to be willing to participate in or even just sit in. It's a piece of legislation from Governor Baker, the Community Compact, which oversees all the municipalities who are doing this type of grant work, kind of like an oversight piece. That needs some exploration because I'm unclear of what exactly that would entail for time commitment, but it's a requirement now of this grant. And then public accessibility best practices, and will there be any matching funds? Public accessibility best practices is the only item not required. And maybe part of what we can do next meeting is kind of open this up as a team and read the various, because there's every single one of them has like a little breakout, more information piece. Or maybe we could give ourselves, I don't want to give homework to people like a teacher, but maybe we could review it so that we can have a cogent art discussion on it next time we're together rather than watch each other read it. That sounded bossy. I apologize.
No, I think that would be
Yeah.
because otherwise you'd have to read about what it entails. So we might as well have it in front of us before the meeting.
Okay. I'll send the link out to everybody to make it easy, and then we can just kind of nip away at it.
Okay.
Okay. Any other business? We gave ourselves that item. Any other business not reasonably thought of within 48 hours of this meeting? You want to set a next meeting date and time?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Do we want to do our regularly scheduled commission meeting and have a separate meeting that matches Jim's not it's Jim, correct? Jim, the new building inspector.
Yes.
Yeah. I apologize. Jay Briggs.
No, Jim.
Nope, that's Chatham. That's Chatham. I apologize. It is
Jim Badero.
It is Jim Badero. Okay. See, my notes are chicken scratch. So, do we want to do that? Meet twice, once with potentially Hatches and the new building inspector, and then have a meeting to do a lot of this other work?
I think that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
So maybe if we had 5 weeks since the last meeting, maybe look at 5 weeks from now for our next committee meeting, and then maybe trying to get that Hatches meeting in the next couple of 3 weeks. That way there, and then we can talk about it in the next meeting.
We can definitely do that. That would mean that we are hoping to be on the April 26th selectmen's meeting then, because we'd want, I think, to prepare any documents we need to get to Rebecca by the 21st.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That sounds like the right sequence. That would be good.
Okay. Rebecca, with notice, just about any afternoon, I'm not speaking for anybody but myself right now. If I have a meeting that you suggest, I can probably move things around, but do you want to check with Jim and see what he has for availability to meet with us and maybe get a date or two And then the four of us.
Yeah,
could
I'll
say-
email him. Yep, I will email him Monday morning. I just wrote that down
Mhm.
and just ask him to give me 3 or 4 dates within the
Mhm.
next couple of weeks. And then I'll email them to you and we'll go that way and figure out
Perfect.
which works best for everyone.
Awesome. Okay, so when do we want to meet for our committee?
Would it be April 8th that's a Friday at 4:30?
Works for me. Does it work for everybody else?
Works for me.
Fred, you need to check your calendar.
My calendar is really pretty open.
All righty. Friday, April 8th at 4:30 is our next one. I gave myself some homework. I'm gonna research and send out the link for documents related to the grant that we want to apply for. Let's see what other homework do we have in here. I'm gonna reach out to Geraldine LaPence. She's Detective LaPence with the Wellfleet Police Department. She's still on the Wellfleet's homepage, their navigator liaison for Outer Cape Navigator, which is for people who need safe rides, need assistance with getting to appointments, maybe having mental health or other substance abuse issues and need help navigating resources, hence the title. I didn't connect with her in time for this meeting, but I'll reach out to her as well in terms of same thing as Council on Aging and the CPAC. How can we help and what might they need? So I'll give myself that homework as well.
Good.
I think that's about it. Okay.
Did we talk about the timing, Jim, on when that grant proposal has to go out?
Well, the cycle begins in August, on August 2nd.
Okay, August 2nd. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're timely for it. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and I'll be in touch with Rebecca on those two prerequisites: the notice of non-discrimination and the ADA grievance procedure, and we'll see, how those might be formulated.
Awesome. Okay.
Great. That was your homework. And
Right.
okay.
Great.
Are we
Well,
ready to say bye?
Great to have Rebecca.
All right.
Great to have Rebecca with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
great.
Yes, very, very helpful having you join us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, one and all.
Pleasure, everyone.
Yes.
Nice
Have a
to
great
see everyone.
weekend.
Thanks, Kate.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye-bye,
Stay well.
guys.
Stay well.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I think Rebecca's ending our meeting for us. Bye, Michaela.
Bye, Kate. Wait, Kate, are you still on? You and
Yes,
Fred?
I'm still on.
I was wondering, I'm a reporter with the Independent, and we just want to start covering your guys' efforts. But I was able to get a hold of Jim, but I don't have your Fred's email. So I was wondering, maybe I can give you mine, and if you want to email me.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. It's just my first name, as you see on the screen. And then at provincetownindependent.org. Yeah, I would just love to talk to you as things start. You guys start things up again since they're going on.
So just to make sure I heard you correctly, so it's Michaela, the spelling of your first name, at Provincetown Independent, and it was
.org.
That was the perfect. Thank you. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And if you just send me an email,
I will
schedule some time.
I'll do that right now before I sign off for the day here.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
you
guys.
take care. All right.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right, Fred, it was good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay well, and I'll see you virtually in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Stop recording. And